about something that I would call online anxiety. Now, online anxiety is something that I never thought I'd really come across, but considering how much time kids nowadays spend on a screen, either just working on a computer, playing games, or in social media. Yet since the COVID-19 and all of us having to put our businesses online where we could, we've started to notice a phenomena that we've termed the phrase online anxiety. Now, what this can look like is that before going to start an online class, now that could be a homeschooling class or a class that your school has organized or an academy class, the kids start to get resistant to going on. This can go from a discomfort or I don't like doing this platform right through to full tears and panic attack. If you're looking for the cause of this phenomena, this online anxiety, I think we only have to go as far as, is your child empathic? Now, an empathic child or teenager is someone that has often through a fear as a child developed a heightened skill of being able to read people. And by that, most people will communicate with their eyes and their ears, and what they see and what they hear, they'll work and read the room that way. Whereas an empathic person goes also by a kinesthetic response of what they feel. Now, this is happened for them as a child so that they could read the possibility of a threat. And then this has become heightened to the point of often cases a superpower where they rely more on what they feel about someone than what they see or what they hear. How do you know if your child is empathic? They tend to deeply feel what other people feel as well. So they'll often react of what other people will be reacting off as well. So in this situation of online learning, what happens is their way of reading people is taken from them. And this creates anxiety. So imagine that you're someone that's not terribly empathic and you rely heavily on your eyes and ears. And imagine that you were taken into a group of people that you might even know, but you're blindfolded. And just feel it, how that would ramp up your experience of that. And this is what online learning can feel like to an empathic child. You see, once that anxiety is triggered, their brainwaves go into what's known as a high beta wave. And in high beta wave, there's only three things that you can do. It's fight, flight, or freeze. So that's depending on how empathic your child is going to be how reactive they could be to the online learning. So while they're in that high beta wave stage, they won't be reasoned with because you can't have logical thought. Flight, fight, or freeze, remember. So ultimately, what you need to do as a parent is to change the thought. Ways that I do it with my kids, if they are suffering anxiety, is I change the thought by talking to them about something that they're interested in, but change the subject is the way of thinking about it. One of the things I would avoid is suppressing the feeling. So when someone is going through an anxiety attack or feeling anxious, having them like breathe through it, or just it can end up suppressing what's there. What we tend to like to do is get them to lean into it. So once you change the thought and drop their self from a high beta wave into a different style of thinking, then you can actually get them to lean into that feeling and go, well, what's the truth in that feeling? What are you actually afraid of? What threat is there? You see, high beta wave thinking is great if a bear's chasing you. You don't want to have a conversation. If a bear's chasing you, you want to actually either run or hide or, be a good fighter if you're fighting a bear. But at the end of the day, by changing that brainwave and leaning into the anxiety, generally what you'll find is that the kids can see for themselves that the threat isn't real. The threat's a perceived threat. The threat is they're feeling anxious because something they've relied upon so long is being taken from them. Now, the good news is, as you can see in this frame that I'm filming in, is it's like looking at a human being in a magnifying glass. So what you can also start to see them is that they can read people the same way when they're looking at them on a screen. Simply a glint of an eye, a corner of a smile, an eyebrow, and in fact, they'll become better at reading people, but it takes practice. And so you may want to work with your school. If you're working with a school, with us, let us know. And allow them to come up with an agreement with their coach. I call it a red button. So if they are starting to feel a little bit anxious, that they can maybe turn their camera off, that they can, I know that in the platform we use, they can type the coach as a private message. And then the coach can actually even take them into a breakout room, a separate room, and have a chat to them. So above all, please don't let them stop learning, because the world now, and particularly our case, needs more creative people. And my fear is that gaming isn't a great way for people that are anxious. You see, my belief in life is you're either shrinking or you're growing. And therefore, if they stop doing things that makes them feel uncomfortable, they're shrinking. And if we can get them to sit through this discomfort, they're going to grow. They're going to grow their skills. And of course, they're going to maintain that creative connection to their community. So I hope that's in some way a little bit helpful. I realize that possibly now for months on end, we're going to be relying on online learning. So therefore, if you can help the kids overcome this anxiety rather than running away from it, you may just give them the best opportunity to grow both as a person and in knowledge that you can.